Global warming is how our globe is warming up. The temperature of Earth is increasing beyond the holding capacity or the sustaining capacity. But what we are doing, instead of looking for solutions, instead of fighting it, instead of um, bringing the temperature to the normal, we are looking for scapegoats. We are looking for people. We are looking for corporations. We are looking for someone who we can blame for the increase in temperature. Let's talk about the basics of global warming. Global warming is about how our globe is warming up. This is our Earth, and there is an envelope that surrounds it, and the height of this envelope is around 800 kilometers. Beyond this envelope, there is interstellar space. In short, it's space, it's vacuum. So far, with all the powerful telescopes, even the recent James Webb telescope, we haven't found any sign of life sustaining conditions in nearby and distant planets, stars. So, in short, so far, scientists have found that the only planet where life is possible, where life has been possible, is Earth. And this possibility of life is supported by a lot of factors. The first one is what we call Goldilocks conditions. Goldilocks conditions or life sustaining conditions are optimum temperature, pressure, optimum temperature, pressure, presence of uh, vital materials, presence of oxygen, and presence of water. Other than that, the gaseous composition in our atmosphere, the gaseous composition in our atmosphere is aligned in such a way that it supports life. So the gaseous composition itself sustains life. In short, we can say we are in equilibrium of life sustaining conditions. Now, what is happening is that we are in a closed loop. We are in a closed envelope, and nothing is expelling out of this system. So it's a, a closed system. The earth is a closed system. Whatever grows here is is left here or goes back to earth. If if something dies, if a plant or animal dies, it goes back to earth. It doesn't expel out to the space. And this is not possible as of now because the height of this envelope 800 kilometer, and no solid, liquid, gaseous plasma molecule is energetic enough to breach this height, to breach this height from to go to expel out from the surface to the interstellar medium. Any molecule, whether solid, liquid, gaseous, or plasma, it needs a lot of energy. and no solid or liquid gas or no molecule here, no particle here is energetic enough. So we can say we are stuck in this closed system. We are left here, and whatever happens, whatever plant molecules we are formed, we are the product of all the processes and forces of life, processes, forces, and materials of life, and we go back to earth. And this has been in the folks, fables, tales. This has been in common news that whatever grows grows on earth, it goes back to earth. So this this uh, this feedback mechanism is good for earth, and so far this it has been good for sustaining life, because we never had the the scarcity of material. We never had the the requirements to borrow from other planets or interstellar medium. Now this same system is being threatened because we have disturbed this equilibrium, especially the gaseous and material composition. For example, the carbon dioxide, it needs to be around 300 to 330 ppm parts per million for every million particles. Carbon dioxide particles cannot be more than 300 to 330. But we have breached this threshold, and right now we are somewhere from 415 to 450 parts per million. And now uh, the linearity in our thinking suggests that we we have a lethal situation only when this 450 threshold reaches up to 600 parts per million. So let me explain what happens. We are in a closed system of 100% of all the materials put together. So in which around 76% is nitrogen, 21% is oxygen, and then there are rest of gases, which includes carbon dioxide, water vapor, ammonia, some inert gases, and all that make up to 100%. This 100%, this closed system, this is not going to be breached. It will not happen that if we increase the amount of carbon dioxide, the oxygen level will remain the same. So the first one to get displaced is oxygen. If carbon dioxide goes up, oxygen level goes down, and 21% oxygen is necessary for survival of all biotic life. It includes animal and plant species and individuals of animal and plant kingdom. And the other thing is that in this closed system, we don't work in silos. We don't work aloof. We live in symbiosis. The symbiosis means we help each other out. Even if we don't want it, we work in such a system. Take example of a plant. So this plant species is eaten by some herbivore, some plant eating animal. Let's say um, a lamb, and this lamb is eaten by a carnivore. Carnivore is animal eating animal. And when this carnivore dies, it is decomposed by decomposers, which includes just as crows, vultures, and microorganisms, and the detritus. It means the decomposed molecule, decomposed grains, they go back to earth, and this decomposed material, it acts as fertilizer. So this is how this chain works, and this same fertilizer helps in the growth of plant, because all um, these species and the individual, they are made up of components such as hydrocarbons, nitrogen, such as protein, amino acids, and other materials, oxygen, water, and down the line, the individuals of the symbiotic individual of the system, they helps the breakdown of all these particles back to the original level. So this breaking down, the same hydrocarbon, nitrogen, oxygen, water, whatever, they goes back to the earth. So a plant species, if it is broken down, the nitrogen content, the oxygen content, I'll take the nitrogen, because we all know that fertilizer, many fertilizers like urea, they are they bear the core or basic constituent is nitrogen. So this nitrogen goes back to earth and it feeds the plant. In scientific term, this is called food chain and food web. Food chain in the sense this plant is eaten by carnivore, which is herbivore, which is eaten by a carnivore, and which is decomposed by decomposers. This is example of a linear chain. And now these plants are established in an intricate web. They are not linear. We don't know which herbivore is eating which plant. And when we think about the place of humans, humans are omnivore. They eat plants and animals. So the same plant, it can be eaten by a cow, a buffalo, a gazelle, a human, a hare, rabbit, and same this herbivore, this carnivore. So all of them, cow, buffalo, gazelle, hare, rabbit, they can be eaten by any carnivore. It may be a tiger, it may be wolf, it may be a lion. In the same way, decomposers, they can be crows, they can be vultures, they can be hyenas. It all depends on geography. Any particular geography has different set of animals. My point is both food chain and the food web, both are in a balance, delicate symbiotic balance. And if we disturb this balance without compensating it, if we if we take out any such species, be it a plant, a carnivore, herbivore, or even microorganisms, there are going to be consequences. They are going to be lethal consequences if they are not compensated. And this is what going to be happening in the near future. And now coming back to the topic we started with, the global warming. So what's happening is that that the temperature in this envelope, it is increasing. Nothing is expelling out, and the temperature of this envelope, it is increasing in such a way that the the biophysical and geographical processes, biophysical and geographical processes, what we call abiotic forces, those forces which are not alive as human or plants. So those abiotic forces, they are being disturbed. So their disturbance has led to unpredictability, which is of grave concern. Unpredictability, and this unpredictability, abiotic forces, I can say, it's rain, temperature, pressure, wind system, snow, hails, droughts. And we all know these processes, rain, temperature, pressure, drought, these are very important. Even ocean, ocean circulations, waves, everything that we have on Earth, it is in an equilibrium with other processes, with biotic and abiotic system, which is why we call the Earth uh, a perfect ecosystem, a good ecosystem. And now, if this equilibrium, if this symbiosis, if it is disturbed, this unpredictability can give rise to give rise to mm, consequences or results that can easily spiral out of control. That's a grave cause of concern. It is because we can control linear things, things which are in our hands. But here, no proper research, without any comprehensive research, and without any comprehensive research at the level of common people. Common people doesn't know what all these processes are. Comprehensive in the sense all around, or a complete analysis. If we take a complete analysis of all the biotic and abiotic processes, if we take cows, rain, ocean waves, polar ice, carbon dioxide, oxygen, microorganisms, detritus, if we take all of them together and we think in a common and analyzed manner, we can come up to a complete picture of how the present scenario of global warming is affecting each of us. And when we analyze it in a comprehensive and complete manner, we see that the fabric of this equilibrium, it has many big gaps in it. This fabric has been torn, and we are not patching it up, and nor we are finding any solution for any finding any complete solutions. Let me elaborate. In our Earth, there are three poles. We all know about Arctic and Antarctica, and there is another one, this one, which is called Hindu Kush Himalaya. So, in geographical parlance, they are said that the Earth has three poles, and these poles have kilometers of thick ice, thousands of kilometers of thick ice. And this ice cover, it helps in maintaining an optimum 15-degree temperature for Earth, which is optimum for sustaining life, sustaining all forms of life. And we are trying to, our the present global warming condition is notching up to breach this level. So the 15 degree centigrade may reach up to 17 degree or 18 degree centigrade. And in such a condition, if the temperature of the mean temperature of Earth increases up to 18 degree, and now we are staring at a vicious cycle. If the temperature goes up 15 to 18 degree, the polar ice or the ice of all three poles, it will melt. When it melts, there is there will be a lot of water floods. This flood will life, contaminate other water bodies, contaminate land and water. And we can imagine it if land and water is being contaminated, so that fresh water, because the polar areas, they hold fresh water. First, we lose out on fresh water. A lot of fresh water will be contaminated. Second thing, a lot of pathogens are long dead or dormant pathogens that have been living in the layers of those thick layers of ice. They will be released in our atmosphere, in our land, in our colonies, in our society. And those same pathogens can be lethal. I don't need any example to elaborate on this. We have a recent example of COVID-19, and we know how lethal it proved out to be. Next, the same water, when it floods land and water, all forms of biotic life, biotic lives, they will be affected. If biotic lives will be affected, the food chain and food web, it will be affected. And we, the Homo sapiens, we are also animal species. Our biological processes resemble that of an animal. Like we eat, we breathe, we excrete, we procreate. Our biological processes, we can say, it's a limit. These processes are limit on our cognition. I say this because our mind can take any form. Our imagination, our consciousness, it can take any form. We can design, we can imagine anything, but biologically, we are not that free. Biologically, heart need to be pumped, urine need to be taken out, our body need sleep, food, sex. So this biological limit on us, just which is because we are also part of this food chain and web. And if this temperature goes up, it sets off a vicious cycle, and this vicious cycle can disturb this equilibrium of biotic and abiotic forces. And when this equilibrium, if it is broken or if it is disturbed, it will affect the food chain and web. If this food chain is affected, we, the the animal species of this, if this the world, our biological processes will be affected. And if our biological processes will be affected, our cognition won't work. Put it another way, if this 15 to 18 degrees centigrade temperature, if the mean temperature is breached, it will take a toll on our life, both physical and mental. What will happen? First, there will be less resources. If all the land is being contaminated, there won't be anything to grow food upon on a mass scale. We can grow food for some people in laboratories, but on mass scale for 8 billion people, there won't be any land or there won't be any areas to grow food upon. So there will be a resource competition. And second, physically, this temperature, this temperature breach, it will cause the carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide level to go up. And uh, both these gases, carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide, both of them will will hamper our own biological functioning, because our internal organs, brain, heart, liver, kidney, they have they have evolved to work in 21% oxygen level. So if it goes up, the oxygen level will go down. And second thing, the uh, how nutrients and oxygen reach to every nook and corner of our body. They reach via hemoglobin. So hemoglobin in our blood helps this oxygen reach every corner of this world and make us physically fit. But if this carbon monoxide level increases, what will happen, that it will bind to the hemoglobin, so it will become carboxyhemoglobin, and instead of oxyhemoglobin, which is good for us, oxyhemoglobin, which is necessary for our survival, carboxyhemoglobin will run in our blood. And if carboxyhemoglobin runs high in our blood, chances of our survival are very less. Survival chances are less, are grim. So this is a cause of concern. A single tweak in temperature can set off a vicious cycle of death. And this is a real possibility. And we are not thinking about it just because we think in a linear term. And second, still we think that the global warming situation is a distant threat, a threat which will be countered by the upcoming generation some 50 years later. This is not true. The situation is grim, the situation is near. And what we are doing, we are looking for scapegoats. This is because of our linear thinking. Now, what I paraphrase here is that this global warming thing is a real thing, is a grave threat, is a near threat, and we won't know if and how this can spiral out of control. We don't know it. And I have present the likely scenario, and this is just one of scenario when a single breach in temperature in single physical process, that is melting of polar ice, and this can have lethal consequences on in our earth or in our lives. And there are thousands of both biotic and abiotic processes that are going on. Even if the soil is contaminated, we won't be able to grow food on it. And if we won't be able to grow food on it, There will be resource scarcity, there will be competition, there will be lethal war, and physically and mentally we are not capable of it. If the carboxyhemoglobin level increases in our blood, we won't be able to function properly. Our brain will not work, heart will not work. So what good are we if our brain and heart are not working? Our imagination, our cognition, the scapegoating, the blame game, it won't work. And how good are we if we are paralyzed up to 30-40%? So the situation is this scary situation is that this climate change thing, it can really spiral out of control in just 1 year, 6 months. We don't know, and, and we don't know if we can. This process may take up to 4 or 5 years. The only thing is that this breach or this disturbance in the equilibrium of this ecosystem, the breach in equilibrium of biotic and abiotic processes has set off a vicious cycle, and that vicious cycle is really unpredictable. And we have seen the instances. I am not talking in air, I'm not building air castles. We have seen the heat waves in European areas. We have seen the erratic rainfall in tropical areas. We have seen the instances of wildfires. We have proof of polar ice melting. We have proof of COVID-19 and our decreasing immunity. So all of these events, all of these instances are laughing on the face of us that we, the Homo sapiens, Homo sapiens means that we are wise species, we are intelligent species, and the same wise and intelligent species, when facing a threat, we are looking for scapegoats. We are looking for people to whom we can blame the whole climate thing. Many scientists and eminent personalities, newspaper analysts, many educated person, they are blaming it on industrialists or industrialist society, industrialized society, or those societies that have set off industrialization. But who are we to be blamed? And we are not in position right now. First, those who set off this industrialization in 16th and 17th century are long gone. And second, we are also using all these resources. Thomas Edison and all those scientists who made thousands of patents, and we are using this patent. I am also using this laptop, um, this pen tab, a smartphone. I have all electronic and digital gadgets, and we are now in such a situation that I cannot live without these these gadgets, these technologies. So to blame industrialized society, to blame rich people, to blame corporate, to blame polluters, to 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 blame anyone will not help out. I know, yes, there are some people who, because of their greed, they they helped in accentuating, helped in increasing this climate change or global warming thing. Our fossil fuel consumption, our greed, our lifestyle, all of these things have really helped in or accentuated this crisis. So we are all complicit in it. No one is spared. Each of us, if we are consuming such things, if you are consuming energy, if you are consuming electronic products, electronic and manufactured products. If we are using automobiles, if we are eating away at somewhere, if we are wearing clothes, if we are reading, even if we are reading books. So, in short, we are consuming something, or consumption, and if we are consuming something, we are complicit in it. So first, this blame game need to be stopped. It's only when this blame game is stopped, we can think about fighting it together. Because right now, what we need is a, a united effort of people from all walks of life. That's how we are going to fight it out. Thank you.